Hello there, it's Paula Kensington here, coming to you for the last time in 2024. And really, I wanted to reflect and share with you what's ahead in my world, in my professional world for 2025 as we start to wind down one year and wind up the next year. And so I've just been reflecting actually over the last 3 months on what's going on for me in 2025. And so for most of you who've been following me now for some time, you'll know that I left the corporate world 5 years ago and actually coming into 6 years next year. And I've been out on my own in my own business, providing CFO services and mentoring and coaching over that period of time. And it's been a great journey of learning in that 5 years and not been easy for sure. And then obviously COVID hit in that period as well, which I think has also had positive and negative impacts in my business. But when I started off my business, I wanted to make sure that I did 5 different things. So I kind of saw it like a horse race, if you like, and decided that it wasn't just going to be one horse that was going to run in this race. I needed to have 5 different streams of revenue so that I could basically see what was going to work, And a lot of people have said to me, including my husband, are you not better off just concentrating on one thing and doing that well? And I don't know, maybe I'd be interested to know what you think. But for me, I have to do a number of different things. I get bored easily. I want to test myself. And also, I don't know what's going to work well if I don't try a number of different things, right? So I did about 5 different things in that 5 years at the same time. And in the last 3 months, I've realized for 2025, I'm actually going to concentrate on 2 main drivers. And, if I didn't have these 5, then I probably wouldn't know which 2 I was going to concentrate on. So the first thing is around helping businesses think beyond net zero. How do we think beyond just, getting to net zero impact? Because as I've said many times now, it's taken 30 years to get the first international accounting standard, and we can't wait for the next standards to come. So we actually have to simultaneously get to net zero, get to mandated reporting, but also think beyond that. What else can we be doing to give back to nature, society, and the global economy? At the same time as getting to net zero, which is a huge challenge for business, right? We know there's a cost to being sustainable, but then there's a cost of not doing it, I think, that will escalate over time and leave companies behind that are taking a slower start. So we know that we've got to build climate resilience in our models, in our business models, and we know we've got to think about double materiality. What is the impact that we're having on our surroundings, and what is the impact of the surroundings on us? And then looking at scenario analysis, like what's the risk and opportunities of a world in which we may exceed the 1.5 degree temperature rise? And then another scenario, what would be the risks and opportunities to our business if we were something like 3 degrees global warming? Now, depending on what you read, I've been reading a book recently called I Want a Better Catastrophe by Andrew Boyd. And if you haven't already seen this, it's well worth a read, or even going online and looking at the flowchart. He's got this awesome flowchart in here that says, are we in a climate emergency? Yes, no, maybe. And it's a really fun way to think about the opportunities that we have ahead of us. But in this book, he says that the climate scientists are saying that there's a good chance we're likely to breach 6 degrees global warming, which is catastrophic. The world will be a totally different place. So anyway, I'm not going into that now, but that's a good book to read if you want to have a read of the climate emergency that's ahead of that we're in now. So that's the scenario analysis. And then there's obviously the International Sustainability Standards reporting, which is mandated from the 1st of January. And again, if you're a non-reporting entity, that doesn't mean this doesn't impact you because you're in someone else's supply chain. So you're becoming someone else's problem and you will have to report to your customer. even if you don't have to report to the regulator. So anyway, that's the one thing I'm going to concentrate on. How does business think about getting to net zero and beyond, and think about having climate and impact as a strategic initiative? And we're building a measure around how do you think about that from a business perspective. At the moment we know that we've got mandated reporting, and that regulators will look at companies and say, are they saying what they're really doing, and getting underneath the hood. But for the consumer, for the average person, how do I know what that means for this one company? So we're looking at building some kind of index, or you might think of it as some kind of credit rating equivalent of, how is this company stacking up against this other company, so that I can understand where companies are at in this kind of scoring, like AAA status versus CCC status. So we're building on this measure, but also we're building on a measure of profitability after paying back nature's debt. So United Nations say that there's something like 7 trillion of money owed back to nature, and it equivalent to additional money every year that we're owing back to nature, where we've just taken and extracted and not thought about the damage and the reparation that we actually need to invest back in order to get a planet that's going to be able to be a habitual planet for our future and our future generations. So thinking about not just building a ratings index, but actually thinking about what's the equivalent of EBITDA that actually pays back to nature. So that's one thing that I'm concentrating on next year. And the other thing that I'm concentrating on next year is supporting finance professionals to be able to drive better outcomes for all stakeholders. So as I've always said, the CFO and the finance team are well placed to drive better outcomes throughout the business, because we see the whole of business, and we are the people with ethics in our DNA. So we need to be thinking about the impact that our business has on stakeholders, not just shareholders. So supporting the finance professionals to do that job, and supporting business owners to think about how to measure and how to improve impact. So those are the two areas that I'm concentrating on, probably for the next half a decade, to be honest, getting us to 2030. And so, I would love to be able to deliver to my big, hairy, audacious goal of winning an Order of Australia. And wouldn't that be awesome if I could help, companies and employees to drive better outcomes for, to actually earn our business license, to actually have a planet and to leave a planet when we're gone for, future generations to actually enjoy as we have. So those are the two things I'm doing, and that's given me a lot of creativity, but a lot of space to be able to think about what does that mean. And so I'm going to work with Future Value in 2025. So you can check them out, and they are a regenerative development company that I've been working with now for the last almost a year, and serendipitously met one of the co-founding directors, Stella Henderson, over 18 months ago, when I was working for donating my time for WWF in their Innovate to Regenerate. I got connected to Stella through that, and I always love how the universe brings people together. We don't know at the time for particular reasons, but I feel like now this is part of the journey that has been laid out for me. Also in 2025, I'm going to launch a podcast series where I'm bringing inspirational, innovative thinkers around the world together for the benefit of you, my followers, and finance professionals the world over, where we get time to listen and be inspired by different thinking, how to challenge our own thinking. And so most of you will know that I've been running CFO Conversations now for probably about 5 years, and have been running the Future Finance Thinkers Tank in 2024. And now I'm thinking, well, maybe the podcast is the way to move that forward, and I can have conversations with other finance professionals to be able to share with my community. So that's happening in 2025 as well. And what is the year? What is the forecast for the year? Well, it's a 9 year. If you add all the digits of 2025 together, that comes to 9. And I'm actually a 9 numerologically person in my birth year. So that's interesting. 9 is often a cycle or end of a cycle and a new cycle beginning. It can be seen as a year of transformation. It's also the year of the Chinese wood snake, and some of the rhetoric around that is around wisdom and elegance and transformation. And I think, we can often see the symbology of creatures and look beyond what we just might initially see. But I think the snake is symbolic strength and a character of great healing. But also, we can often be quite fearful of a snake, but actually there's a lot of really positive implications and symbology of that if you think about the infinity, and and how that is like a snake around having infinite opportunities, but also that beautiful shedding of a snake's skin allows us to shed what doesn't suit us anymore as well. So that's really my wrap for what's going on in my world. I'd love to hear from you if you want to share with me what's going on for your world, for your planning. I wish you a very safe end of year and some time off, hopefully, and to share with the loved ones that you have in life. I know end of the year and Christmas can be a challenging period for a lot of people, and it always gets me upset because I miss being at home and I miss my parents and my family and my parents who have now moved on in the world, and and often it can be sad but joyous, and so it's kind of that bittersweet time. But I wish you well and lots of love to you all, and look forward to connecting with you in the new year. Okay, bye for now.